form. I'm Dr. Brunson, your proud superintendent. I've met many of you all multiple times, and if I have not met you, then hello, new friend. All right, so we're gonna get started. One of my favorite quotes, school should be the safest place in any community. Wouldn't you all agree?
Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm going to introduce my speakers for the night. This is me, of course. You know, Photoshop is beautiful, right? So anyway, we have what I did ask of our speakers this evening is to give me a quote that kind of tells you a little bit about who they are. And so my quote is, talent is nothing without a field on which to display its gifts. And so when I talk about talent, I mean your brilliant children, their talents, right? And the field is the school. And so what we are really working on is making sure that we bring out the talents within your children, their gifts, and being able to have them on display here at our schools. Our next person is who's going to speak to you all tonight is Dr. Dallas Lee, and he is the Assistant Superintendent of Educational Services and Operations. And our job is to teach the students we have, not just the ones we would like to have, not the ones we used to have, those we have right now, all of them. So that just kind of tells you what kind of educator he is. And then we'll move on to Ms. Dana Ash. She's the Director of Student Services. And her quote is, never be limited by other people's imagination. And so we are trying to make sure that we are good role models for your children as well. And then lastly, but finally, not least, is Officer Anthony Brady. He is our SRO. He is new this year. We had Chuck Evans for many, many years, and he has retired. And so Officer Brady, his is be yourself, because everyone else is taken. And so one of the things we want to make sure our children, our students, and your children, our students know that being themselves is enough. I'll go through this really quickly. We make all of our decisions based on our core values. And our core values, of course, being student-centered is number one. Transparency, being very honest about the education that your children are receiving. If we are doing a great job, if we could do a better job, that's what we want to hear from you. Innovation, as you are here seeing all of this great innovation that we have here at the STEAM Center, one of the things that we're really working on is having STEAM integrated throughout the day. So not just here, not just in science class, but throughout your children's day. Integrity, we want to make sure that we hire people who have high integrity, because you trust us with educating your children. Therefore, the people that are in front of your children who spend almost more time with your children than you do throughout the day, right? How important it is that they are people of good, high integrity. Mutual respect, making sure that we understand that one of the things in order for us to be successful is that we need to respect you need to respect us, and as a community, that everyone feels like they belong and that they're respected. Accountability. People, this is a word that makes people uncomfortable, but accountability is just, you're going to hold up your end of the bargain, I'm going to hold up my end of the bargain, and when we do that, we win. It's very simple. And then, of course, partnership, which is why we have all of these events. And I know we have a lot of events. Thank you all for coming. You can't make them all, right? But at least we want to make sure that there's something for everyone. And then finally, our mission statement. The purpose of the mission statement, of course, is to provide a written purpose for our organization. And ours is to educate, empower, and inspire the whole child. Our vision statement is really like our aspiration. It's what we believe in. It's what you should see when you come into our schools. Elementary School District 159 will establish a shared culture that fosters a student-centered approach to learning and personal development using best practices and educational resources. So tonight you're going to hear from Dr. Lee, you're going to hear about our safety measures that we use to keep your children physically safe. From Dana Ash, you're going to hear, how do we keep your kids psychologically safe? How do we provide them with tools in order for them to manage interpersonal relationships with other peers? And also, how do they self-regulate? And then some of the legal things that we are required to provide your children. And then, of course, last but not least, our Officer Brady will speak about things like cyber safety for your children and giving you an opportunity to ask questions about how do you keep your kids safe online. I know who in here worries about that. I have a sixth grader. I have a middle schooler, and that's one of the biggest things. You want to give them freedom, but you also want to make sure that you, as the parent, know how to keep your children safe. So that's kind of the overview, and then they're going to be able to take any questions. If you have questions, then let us know. I will start with Ms. Dana Ash. She is our Director of Student Services.
Thank you, Dr. Barton.
You're welcome.
And thank you. And I also thank you for coming, because this is an opportunity for us to show and tell you for some of the things that we have in place. So I want to go over all our social and emotional supports at District 159. So we first start with a screener, and then we do preschool screeners when parents come in. We also have PBIS district-wide. We have Second Step, which is a curriculum that every student gets and every teacher teaches. We have 5 social workers. We have a counselor at the middle school. We also have a counseling service that comes in to see our students. We follow the law, Erin's Law. We also do follow the law for candor services, as well as we have trained all teachers and all administrators on restorative practices. And I'll start going in on those things. So by measuring students' perceptions, it allows us to meet students where they are. When I say meet students where they are in regards to their emotional needs. So the social emotion, which is a big word that everybody says all now, what it is emotional regulation, social awareness, self-management, growth mindset, and supportive relationships. Those are the areas that we are surveying, but also we're showing students what it looks like every day. We work to build supports across the district with students who may be struggling in one or the other by allowing them to see the social worker. Our positive behavioral intervention and supports, which is district-wide, every school has PBIS. This is a evidence-based approach to make sure that we are ensuring that all students have touched and those interrelated elements, equity systems, data, practices, and outcomes. And our goal is to, when it's done with fidelity, that it improves PBIS across social emotional competencies as well as academic success and school climate. It also allows teachers to have better health and well-being in the school and feeling safe. Everyone is in this system. It's not just students, teachers, administrators, everyone is interrelated. So we try to use this system because we know that we're all connected in some way, shape, form, or other to make sure that we are making sure this place is a safe place. This is a video. It's very quick. But could you imagine a world if we had this?
There's a lot of talk these days about SEL, social emotional learning. But what exactly is it? Social emotional learning is the process of learning social and emotional skills. And it's just as important as learning reading or math. This learning process is most effective when it begins early and continues through high school. Social emotional skills are essential for success in work and life. With SEL, students learn to manage their own emotions and behaviors, have empathy and show care and concern for others, solve problems effectively, make responsible decisions, and maintain healthy relationships. Students learn to recognize what's happening inside them and to be aware of their emotions, which helps them deal with strong emotions and impulsive behaviors. It helps them stop, take a breath, and think about a situation before acting. Students learn to identify others' emotions and perspectives, which helps them empathize and show compassion, no matter who they are or what their background is. It's not difficult to imagine how this is important in the classroom and in life. Students learn to solve problems in peaceful ways and communicate assertively about what they need or want. This helps them get along with other students and get the help they need from adults. When students learn to make responsible decisions about their lives and their future, things can turn out better. Research shows social emotional learning makes a difference. Students who participate in SEL do better academically, have improved attitudes and behaviors, and act in delinquent or disruptive ways less often. In the United States, students with strong social emotional competence are twice as likely to earn a college degree and nearly 50% more likely to graduate from high school and have a full-time job by age 25. Just as important, students who are socially and emotionally competent have more friends. This means they're more likely to feel connected to school and do well, and less likely to be left out or bullied. Simply put, by participating in social emotional learning, students learn the skills to succeed in every facet of school and the rest of their lives.
Imagine a world where our students are able to problem solve together. I went over to one of the schools and one of the assistant principals was going to be out, so he asked me to come over to do a restorative conversation with two students or practice. So it was such a wonderful thing to see that we just started this year on restorative training, but the students were able to tell me what happened, what the situation, why they went wrong. They were even able to say next time what they'll do. They even gave themselves strategies to say, okay, I'm gonna breathe in and breathe out before I get angry. I'm gonna go get some water. I'm gonna take a break so that I can detach from the situation. When students are able to tell you what they're gonna do for next time when they have that situation, that means we're doing something right. Aaron's Law is a law that we have to follow yearly by going over just what is sexual abuse and prevention. So we do this once a year, as well as childhood victories. So these are programs that we are trying to teach children what it looks like and what a positive environment and what an unsafe environment is and what it looks like. We also have critical health problems and comprehensive, which happens in the PE classes. So it is safety and comprehensive sexual education that we have to teach in schools. This is Candor, it teaches about puberty, sex, and drugs, and all those wonderful things for middle school, which have to be taught for grade 4 through 8 if you see. And we also have the counselors that come in through a counseling group, so they pull the students one-to-one, and you will get a consent sign to say that you approve of them being pulled out of class or anything. So we also have, the last thing we have is that we do have connection with a behavioral health center where students may need any kind of medicine or any kind of psychological help, where we do call this company and they can come in, we'll give you a referral and they just will take you right in. So these are all the supports that we have in our district. The Panorama Survey is done twice a year, but SEL is called daily in the classroom with their classroom teacher. Thank you all again for coming out, and I look forward to any questions.
Good evening, everyone. So I want to say thank you to Ms. Ash, because she provided information about how we are doing our best, in addition to the content classes, to educate the entire child. So when they leave Elementary School District 159, they know how to use their words responsibly, and they can regulate their emotions. I'm going to share information with you about how we do our absolute best each and every day to keep your young people safe. You ready to rock and roll?
Yes.
Good. So throughout Elementary School District 159, we have drills that are run throughout the entire year. We have the fire drill, shelter in place drill, bus evacuation drills, which we just completed this week, if I'm not mistaken, lockdown drills, and reverse evacuation drills. There are teams that meet to make sure that we have the best safety standards in all of our schools. You have school safety teams that meet to make sure that they have the best safety standards in that specific school. And then you have the district team that meets, and we met today actually, that encompasses leaders from all the different schools and myself, and we bring together all the things that we're learning from our different campuses to make sure that we have systems in place for every school to make sure we're all doing the same thing to ensure safety. We good? Okay. So we want to differentiate between a crisis and a threat. A crisis is triggered by a traumatic event that significantly disrupts students and the school community's daily function. In these moments, usual coping mechanisms may fall short. And those are some of the coping mechanisms that Ms. Ash was speaking about. Events that can cause serious emotional distress and disorganization within the school community include death of a classmate or teacher, witnessing violence, suicide, natural disasters, school invasion. If your young person ever experiences any of these things, we encourage you to communicate with the school principal, who will then connect the family with resources that were discussed by Ms. Ash. But it's also a crisis. We want to talk about what a threat is. A threat assessment is when we do an evaluation of the risk of violence from someone who has expressed intent to harm. So when we have an awareness of an intent to harm, we do not take those situations lightly. We conduct a threat assessment to see if it's an actual threat. So what is a threat? A threat is an expression of intent to cause harm, whether verbal, gestured, or written. And every time we are made aware of a threat, we do the threat assessment, and then we start rallying the troops to learn more to make sure that everyone is safe all the time. We still good? All right. So pretty soon you're going to receive from each school this shared with you via Remind. There has been a time throughout this year we had to go on soft lockdown. And some families were asking, well, what's the difference between a soft lockdown and a hard lockdown? What we're going to do is share with you the difference between the two, so you know what we're doing as a school system and where we need your support as parents. So I'm asking guardians, I'm asking that you please be on the lookout for this because it's going to be shared pretty soon via Remind after this meeting. But I wanted to take a moment to talk about how we need your support when we have to go into a soft lockdown or a hard lockdown. So first, we understand your concern for your child's safety. We totally get it. However, we urge parents to wait for official information from the district and law enforcement. Updates will come from ESD 159's Communications Department and school principals. So you may have experienced that during the soft lockdown, you received updates from your young person's Remind account. And if you're not connected to Remind, I'm going to emphatically urge you to please get connected to Remind, because that is our first form of communication. So if there's anything ever going on, we communicate with principals the exact message that should go out. If you have young people in multiple campuses, you might notice it's those same messages, okay? Please get on Remind. Our official communication then comes out after you receive the Remind message, and the official communication is seen through our Facebook page, our website, Remind, and Instagram. So then we send out a more official, formal communication. But our number one job is to let you know what's going on in that moment and that everyone is what? Safe. You might have experienced that when we had a little technology outage, right? Same thing, same message. This is what's going on. Everybody's good. All right? All right, during a soft or hard lockdown, the district will provide updates as promptly as possible, but our top priority is resolving the situation that led to the lockdown. So I'm asking that you know, but trust, though you don't know me, you trust me to know that I'm going to give you the best information that I can, because I'm receiving information from Officer Brady and Dr. Brunson, and I'm organizing it so that way you get the most accurate information, okay? All right, so what should I not do as a parent? We're asking that you refrain from calling the building during a soft lockdown or a hard lockdown. The main office supports building administration in resolving the issue, and in a hard lockdown or a soft lockdown, they are following safety protocols by remaining hidden. For your safety and the safety of those inside, please do not approach or attempt to enter the building. Please share only accurate information, as misinformation or inflammatory comments can unnecessarily escalate the situation. So the information that we share with you via Remind and the official communication afterward is what you can share with others, and we ask that you please don't come to the building because we're doing our very best to keep everyone safe inside and outside. Okay, so I want to go over prohibited items per the student handbook. Weapons of any kind are not allowed, those that can cause harm, including pins, knives, firearms, brass knuckles, laser pointers, and similar objects are strictly prohibited in school buildings, on school grounds, at school activities, and school-related events. These things are also prohibited per the student handbook, the family handbook: vapes, drugs, any illegal substances, and tobacco products or paraphernalia. I'm going to take a moment to let you know that our young people are screened when they come through the building every single day. There is signage outside of doors to let everyone know that as you enter the building, you must go through metal detectors. 2 staff members stand at the metal detectors every single day. 1 monitors the screening and 1 supervising the individual passing through. If the detector is activated, a security employee will notify a school administrator. The individual will be asked to surrender any metal or suspicious items, followed by a second screening. If they refuse, proceeding to step 3, as this may indicate a potential threat. If a weapon or contraband is found, the school administrator will contact the district office, then 911, and finally the parent if it's a student. Keep the individual in a secure private area until law enforcement arrives. I just want to let you know that every young person goes to metal detectors every single day. And we are also double checking as individuals who work here in this office by visiting those campuses to make sure that those protocols are followed. And we also have bus expectations. I won't read every expectation to you, but I want to be super, super clear that the safety of the young people who ride that bus and the bus drivers and everybody that's around that bus is a major priority. So safety is first. And so if a young person can't follow the expectations that have been set before them, and we remind them of the expectations, riding the bus is a privilege. And it can be, in some instances, after we've looked into a matter, a young person might have to be off of the bus for a while because the safety of every young person on that bus and the bus driver and the cars around that bus are of the utmost importance. So it's been some instances throughout the year where we've had to remind young people to be mindful of voice levels and how they interact with one another while they are on that bus. Okay? So I'm asking you while we are here today, and anyone who watches this recording, please speak to your young person about behavior on the bus because safety is of the utmost importance. Cyberbullying and social media, I'm turning it over to the man with the master plan. This is Officer Brady.
Hello, everybody. Don't know about that master plan, but I will do my best. Cyberbullying. Understanding cyberbullying. Cyberbullying can happen through messages, social media, and online platforms. It can involve a lot of different things as far as sharing photos without the person's consent, bullying, name calling, teasing, mocking, belittling, and social exclusion. False rumors, making personal information public that the person does not want shared. Things that we want to look for are withdrawal, anxiety, and sudden drops in grades. Also monitors low self-esteem, depression, the inability to sleep, and unfortunately, even suicidal thoughts. That happens, unfortunately, more than we are aware, or more than the public is aware. So it's something we really want to monitor. Monitoring social media use. Be aware of your child's online activities and set boundaries and app usage and privacy settings to ensure safety. Really monitor your child's screen time. There are various apps out there, and I brought a sheet that for everyone, if they want, that have apps that you can utilize to help monitor your child's phone usage. It's very important. Unfortunately, there was a situation I just saw last evening on Nightline where a parent was not monitoring the usage and the child was being bullied and ended up committing suicide. And she saw all the signs that were listed, but unfortunately didn't take action. And she wanted to give her child, privacy and thought the child was doing right, but there were signs with it. When you are going through if you do decide, and I hope you do click through your child's phone every now and then, make sure that they don't have what's called a Vault app on the phone. Vault app helps conceal any unfavorable images or communications that they may be having with predators or stalkers in society. Encourage open communication. Talk regularly with your child about their online experiences and let them know that they can come to you with any concerns. That's obviously very important. They need to know it's an open door, that they can come to you with anything, no matter how you may potentially perceive it. They have to know that you're their safety net and that you are there for them no matter what. If you do unfortunately have a relationship that doesn't allow for that, hopefully there is someone in the family, you know, other parent, sibling, aunt, uncle, grandparent, someone that the child feel comfortable speaking with. Make sure we have good open communications with them. So if there are any things, warning signs that they are being detected and brought to your attention. If you do suspect any of these activities or anything that just doesn't seem right, don't hesitate to reach out to your school personnel. Let them know they have resources that can help. Obviously, the police department has resources for you. And we do our best to obviously get to the bottom of wherever it is that you're detecting and trying to get them the assistance that they need.
Thank you all.
That concludes our time together this evening. I'm going to ask or encourage you to please follow us on all of our various social media handles, in addition to making sure you are connected with your school's Remind account. And so at this time, I'm going to open up the floor to see if we have any questions that we can possibly answer from anything that we may have shared from this evening.
I'm sorry, the other pamphlet was about bullying. Gives information about the difference between bullying and cyberbullying, the effects of it, you know, things that we can potentially do, statistics and things of that. And there's a few resources on the last page as well.
And Officer Brady touched on something I want to just bring back. That Vault app piece is extremely important. I'm going to encourage you to look into that. That's where a young person can download an app that looks like another app, but inside of that app is an app they have no business being on. So please, yeah. Having served as a middle school principal, I learned a lot of things because students would have apps that look like other apps and had hidden apps underneath that one.
And if you're not sure if your child has that, when you go to the app store, you can just type it in, and if it says download, more likely they don't have it. If it has update, refresh, or anything like that, that means it's probably somewhere on their phone. So we just search it and go through the process of updating it or refreshing it, and you will see it.
Yes, ma'am.
I was going to say, I believe with the new update that if you have Apple iOS, now you can hide apps with your Face ID and a password, and only the person who owns that app, the device, can make it reveal the app.
Put your face all in the
Yes.
Have your face be the main. Yeah. Okay, can we answer any questions you may have? Yes.
What was the screening program that you mentioned, or that was mentioned earlier? Sure. As part of the school.
The screener that we use is Panorama. We do it twice a year, and it is a survey that's sent to the students, depending on the grade level, and they fill out, they answer certain questions. It's about 20 questions that they answer about them, but they're all related to the 5 competencies of those 5 things that I went over in the presentation.
So they do sort of like screens for their like emotional well-being?
Yes, it's emotional well-being and how they feel in school, and if they're feeling safe, if they feel like they play well with their friends, if they feel like they get along, or if they don't have any friends. All those things are screened, and then we turn around and look at the data, what it says.
Are these also shared to the parents? Or?
They are shared with the teacher as well as the social worker, but we are more than happy to share them with the parent. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
So, at what point do you share with the family or the parents? Is it when you see like red flags? Is that when you
Yes, yes. So
Okay.
if we say that there's red flags in 3 areas, we may contact you to ask you if your student can see the social worker. So it has to be many areas that we see before we ask you if we can see the student.
I think also like even without red flags, it would be like noteworthy for parents to also.
Oh, absolutely.
To do
absolutely.
issues with that.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you.
Another comment I'd like to make also about like, transparency and during those crisis situations that I think that the more the district provides details, information about what's going on, the less speculation is from the community or from the parents of what's going on inside the school we don't know about. So, I mean, sometimes like if the schools provide less information, that the parents may circulate among themselves what they think is happening, and that could be dangerous. So it'd be to the district or the schools, benefit everybody if they could provide out as much details as possible as soon as possible.
I do appreciate that. That's why we have two segments of communication. The very initial communication that you receive comes from your mind. And it's in that moment we're doing our very best to let you know what's going on and that everyone is safe and the situation in which we're sitting, be it a soft lockdown, hard lockdown, a reverse evacuation drill. And then once we have cleared the situation and that everyone is safe, then we go back to provide the more formal communication through our official district communication channels. And so I'd like to encourage you to make sure that you're connected through all of those streams of communication, because you will receive both on the front end and then afterward. And then we do our very best, if it's an elongated situation, to provide updates in the middle, much like with the technology issue from last week. We provided an update just saying everyone's safe, however, technology is still there.
I'd just like to point out, for example, like the last issue that we had with soft lockdown. Sometimes, like even before the formal explanation came out, we heard more information about it from the news because it also was happening concurrently with other schools in other school districts. Sure. It was widespread all over, like Illinois or Chicago at least.
Yes, sir.
So we would appreciate if we could learn much more. We didn't know if they sort of like a generic response, like social media, so like so many out there. So we don't know what specifically from social. If we could specify from Facebook, for example, that would help us a bit. If you could some idea what kind of threats were made from
Yes.
Facebook, then it will give us an idea whether, because sometimes we understand that some parents can overreact, because we've seen some sort of all over social media what kind of distress are. Some people say it's acceptable, some people would not, but sometimes it would be easier if you let the parents decide on that.
Sir, I definitely understand your concerns, and I'm a parent as well. And obviously, I would like information, as soon as I can get it. But speaking from the law enforcement side, we have various investigative tools that unfortunately don't move as fast as, if you watch your cop shows, the crime happens, they do their investigation, and it's solved all within an hour. Unfortunately, some of our search engines and some of our search tools and avenues that we utilize to find out if it's a credible threat, if it's not, unfortunately it takes some time. And when the situations are fluid, we don't want to put information out there that is not accurate. And we want to obviously make sure that the situation is secure and it's being resolved as expeditiously as possible, but we want to do it in a safe manner. And like I said, unfortunately it takes some time with that. So I do understand your concern. I know that information does get shared, but I would ask you, bear with us. We do understand the concern, and we know that you want the updates, and unfortunately, we do have some that just go out and post, but it's not accurate. And we want to ensure that we're passing accurate information on before it's out. And like I said, unfortunately, it does take some time.
As we conclude, I just want to extend that, as I say, thank you all for coming. Part of what, like Officer Brady said, and then what Dr. Lee has provided you all is, that's why we wanted to have kind of a comprehensive conversation as to things that we're providing, supports to your children, training that we're providing to our staff, but also to let you know that your children are safe. People are trained so that even if there is a threat, how we best handle it. I know, I'm a parent as well, and I know how unnerving it could be to think that someone's doing something horrible or something horrible could happen, but we want to reassure you that we're here with your children. So we're all, when there's a threat to the school, it's also a threat to the adults and all of the staff. And so my job then, what keeps me up at night, is making sure that everyone is safe. So that's the reason why we have information like this, as well as the training and working with our law enforcement to let you know just how serious this is to us. We live in a world, unfortunately, where people are going to do things like this. A lot of times on social media, a lot of those things they're a hoax. They are pranks. And this is why we're asking and really, really asking for you to talk to your children about being responsible when they use social media. Because if something is posted, we're going to take it seriously because we don't have the luxury of not doing so. We can't say, oh, it's just a prank. We don't know that. So sometimes it does take a little bit longer, but we're right here with you, understanding that we want your children to be safe and that we are here to ensure that they are. And unfortunately, things occur, but we do want you to know that when you send us, your children to us, we're going to treat them like they're our own. So if there aren't any other questions, speaking of children, we go back to see, yes, ma'am.
So I know that all of this can possibly be related to mental health, which I believe we all need to learn a little more about, and not just, kids, parents,
Yes.
staff at school, and everyone, because if we learn about it, we might catch some of this
Yes.
stuff before something happens.
Yes.
So maybe it's just a suggestion that we can just have maybe stuff like this
Mhm.
for parents,
Yeah.
for everyone out there. And it should be mandatory for people to come in and participate on all these things so we can share our thoughts and maybe give good ideas.
So we do have a series with our parent universities, and please, we'll be sending those out. We have a training that's coming up about your child's anxiety, understanding that. So throughout the year, we have some of those parent universities. We also have where we're training parents with restorative practices they can use outside with their home. Yes. So we're just be on the lookout for all of these things because we want to make sure that, my motto is a healthy, strong, healthy communities create strong, healthy children. So we want to make sure that you all also have some tools that you can use in your own home, the same that we're using here with your children. So there's some continuity between home and school. So, all right.
I
Yes.
just wanted to back up, at being an educator here at the school, I can say we do, homeroom provide second step to the children, which helps them with their, mental health and being able to have conversations. And it also gets the other staff members involved, so we know what's being practiced in homeroom, so that we can kind of keep that conversation going, along with their learning and learning.
It's pretty comprehensive, which is why we are having this tonight to let you all know transparency, what's happening in the schools, and how seriously we take the health and safety of your children, their mental health, and how important that is to us. So thank you so much. If you all have any questions, one more. You got another question? Sure, absolutely.
I have two boys here, and I don't know. I think it was the Aaron's Law that they had to go to a meeting
Yes.
with students, and let's just say they learned a couple of new stuff about girls. So they were too embarrassed really to look left or right at the girls after hearing about this. But at their old school, this is my second year, but their old school, I don't know if it's possible that you can separate the boys, have all the boys in one section, girls in one section, because they said they had some questions, but they were too embarrassed, to ask in front of the girls, and I'm sure it's other, vice versa. And, just talking about the Bible in particular, is a little comfortable, especially for kids. So I don't know if it's possible to just separate the sexes.
Thank you for that. So with Aaron's Law, we also have a parent meeting prior to. So we have a parent meeting prior to the meeting, training with your children, so that you will know what's coming. And if you want to opt out, you can do so if you don't want your children to learn that. But we have to offer it. But if parents do not want their children to participate, we absolutely respect that. So yeah, so when you see, we're gonna email you, we're gonna send out remind, it's gonna be on all of our platforms, and it'll be on the website. So we try to have as many channels of communication so that you will know what is happening and what your children are learning or being exposed to, because there are laws that we have to follow, and under school code. And I do know as a parent, there may be things that you don't want them to be exposed to, so you do have the right to opt out. But we as a school district must provide. And I always say it's better for the professionals to provide it than them to learn from another 12-year-old. just my humble opinion. So,
Dr. Brunson, I think it'd be easier for parents if, for example, like, they would send out through emails, like, what are the specific topics are covered for each
Mhm.
grade level, instead of us have to go through Candor and search through there and,
Sure.
browse what
We can do that.
find right away, because at least we'll know like, what my 12-year-old knows as opposed to what my 8-year-old would know. So
Mhm.
I wouldn't have cross-sharing the information that might be healthy or vice versa.
absolutely, and Mrs. Fields is here, that's actually falls under her and,
Yeah, I'm writing it down.
yeah, she's writing it down now. So we'll make sure we send out that information, so you'll see it's all age appropriate, because what fourth graders are learning is different than what eighth graders are learning. So we want to make sure that you know that. So we'll do that. Thank you for those suggestions. Thank you all again for coming. All right,
You all take
thank you
care.
very much.